Leader Insights, the podcast where we dive into the world of customer success with industry leaders. I'm your host, Irina Cismas, and today I'm joined by Kiko Moreno, Customer Success Manager at Wazuh, an open source security platform helping organizations detect threats, monitor the infrastructure, and stay compliant. Kiko, I'm really happy to have you here. Thanks for joining.
Thank you, Irina, for having me.
Before we get into your approach, help me understand your work today. What does your role at Wazuh actually look like? And what kind of customers are you working with?
Okay, as Wazuh is a cybersecurity company, okay, basically we work with the software and we provide support services for our customers, plus among any other type of services that can be such as compliances and everything with for customers. Basically, my role in daily life would be take care of customers, but not from a technical perspective, which might be like the idea of someone who doesn't really know what a customer success in a cybersecurity company does, but more from like a commercial and let's say quality relationship sense, something like that. My daily tasks are basically take care of like all the requests that the customers are opening to our support system, taking care of them, such as reviewing the if the customer is stuck in a process with the support team, the time that the support team is taking to resolve these requests, because we have to follow an SLA with the customers, seeing if their goals, because from the beginning we mark some goals with the customer during like our journey together, checking if these goals are being achieved. Also, making sure that the customer is using our support services and our software as much as possible, because sometimes they don't really understand like the whole value of having a whole team, a whole technical team dedicated to their projects. Sometimes they don't really get like a much advantage of that. They just rely on them whenever they need some help with the things that are not working as expected. Also, as the software, we work with a CM plus XDR software, which is like a very specific type of cybersecurity tool. And cybersecurity is not like a very explored field yet. It's something that is very new. So even like the technical guys, the engineers, they are not fully aware of all the capabilities and of the capacities that a CM software has. In my daily task, I always want to make sure that the customer has in mind the whole goal of a CM plus XDR software, which is what we offer, and trying to make sure that they are using it and and basically they are aware of all the capabilities that we offer and we have. So even though, again, a lot of like technical things might be involved in my daily task, I don't really focus that much on that because we have a whole team that is dedicated on that. But I try to make sure that the customer is having a good experience with us. And also I'm making sure that they are using our services as much as possible.
Oh, would it be correct to assess that basically you try to educate your customers into and do combination of discovery with adoption, or making sure they understand what's the value behind your product?
Exactly. I would say that because it's not a problem, I'm going to say, but it's something that I've been facing since I joined the company, is that I deal with a very technical profiles. So in the end, my customers, they all have a very technical profile, and they don't like spending much time on the things that are not important for them. And by that, if they have a problem, they're going to contact the support team and just that. So my role here is to make sure that they are not using our services just as something that they can rely on whenever they have a problem, but it's something to actually like benefit from it, and not just going there when we have a problem, but also going there when they have doubts, or maybe if they have this doesn't really happen, but if they have some free time, also to go and talk with us and say, okay, we have some projects going on. How can we benefit from the services that you offer us, apart from like resolving our questions and making sure that our problems are also being resolved and not having a greater impact on the customer's task. So yes, so I'm making sure all the time that they are using the services and the software in the greater way possible, trying to educate them to make contact with the team, not just for problems, but also whenever they want to understand a little bit more how our software can adapt to their needs and to their goals. So yeah, even though it takes a lot of time, because again, I'm dealing with very technical profiles and it's quite complicated, I must say, to negotiate with them and discuss with them and make them think out of the box. But yeah, it's like one of the main problems that I have to face, but it's part of my task. It's part of my duty here at the company.
How do you measure success with customers like this? What say an account is genuinely doing well?
Yeah. So from the very beginning, we have to make really clear what are the needs of the companies and what are their objectives with us. If we don't get that clear, we will never know if we are succeeding, if we are doing great with them. During the onboarding process, which is something that I take care along with the support team, we have to know why the customer is using our services, why they decided to go with Wazuh, if they need to be compliant with any kind of regulations, because sometimes they just go with us because Wazuh helped them to be compliant with the regulations that maybe the European Union impose on companies or local governments they impose on companies. So we have to understand why they're using Wazuh. Once we know, why they are using our products, then it's when we can measure like the objectives, if we are succeeding or not. And sometimes, because for cybersecurity projects, it really takes time to see if we are succeeding and if we are meeting their goals, because maybe to have a project, let's say, already working, it can take more than 1 year because they have to integrate the software with certain tools. They have to do integrations. They have to be compliant with regulations. And that takes time. It's not something that can be easily done in 2 or 3 months. For some customer, it takes years to have a project already working. So sometimes we can have like in our minds, okay, yeah, we're being successful with this customer. Like sometimes we got this like before 6 months. In some other projects, we need at least 2 years. So it's a very complicated world in terms of to understand how we are succeeding, if we're being successful or not. It's actually a little bit complicated. It depends a lot on the projects.
Speaking of that, it's a bit complicated. What's been the hardest part of the role so far?
Okay, as I don't really come from a technical background, so the most difficult part for me was to understand the projects and the customers. For me, it was really complicated to understand, okay, what is the customer trying to achieve? What do they mean by we have an SLA with this integration? Like how regulations actually work for them and how regulations work for companies. Like what do they need from us? It was very important. It was very important for me to understand this, and also it was very difficult. So the most difficult part of it was basically diving into the product itself. It was the most difficult part to understand. But again, I have a whole team. For me, it was like key to understand that. I have a whole team for me. The company say, hey, I don't understand this. Could you please explain like in child language? How can I understand this? And once you start understanding, once you basically click on, there's just like a click in your brain. I remember that happened 3 months after I joined the company, something clicked in my mind. And I said, okay, I got to understand this. I need to get like answers. I need to make questions. And it's not until I realized that I needed to understand this, even though they would explain this in like in child language, I didn't start, let's say, succeeding in my role and doing a greater job and understanding customers. And actually, I started to acquire the knowledge and everything. So, yes.
Speaking of when you don't come from your technical background, or you don't have a technical background, I know that you studied language, and now you are activating word where precision matters. And speaking from your experience, what does CSM get wrong when they talk to technical customers?
Yeah, okay. We when I deal with very technical customers, what we get wrong is that we think that they are gonna be as much communicative as an HR or someone from, I don't know, a commercial team, that they're gonna express their thoughts and their needs easily with us. It's not like that. I have customers actually that have they have like very good, let's say, language skills, and they are very communicative, but this doesn't really happen. Okay. One thing that people get wrong when dealing with technical customers is they expect that they be as much communicative as we think, and they're not. And maybe whenever they give us an answer, even though it's like a very simple answer, all very simple information, not much information, maybe we tend at the beginning, this happened to me. I thought, okay, they give me this information. It's very little, but at least I have something. And then I started realizing that it doesn't really work like that. I need to ask more questions and get like more information from them and get more information. And maybe once they realize that they cannot give me just one simple sentence and say, hey, we need this. Okay, no, you need this, but why you need this? What for? Do you have any SLA? Things like that. And we cannot really just rely on the little information that technical people give us, because in the end, they don't really like to communicate. They just prefer to get the job done. They think that we have the background and they don't really explain themselves. So we have to be very assertive with the communication, and we cannot go like around the bush. It's like, we need to be very direct, basically. We need to go, okay, what do you need? When do you need it? Why do you need it? What for? What are you expecting from us? We have to be very direct with them, because otherwise the project might not be succeeding in the future.
I need to tackle the AI topic because it becomes a big part of cybersecurity, and not only. Do you think this is making the CSM's job easier or more complex? One in general.
I think it would be like 50-50. We've been implementing AI in our product for a while already, and also in our daily tasks. And at some point, it really makes our life easier. I'm going to give you an example of it. I remember that like a year ago, or a little bit more than a year ago, we would have to go through a dashboard in which we can see like the metrics of the environments of the customer, such as, I don't know, like the data capacity. Depending on those metrics, if they were like a red flag, we would have to go to the customer and say, hey, like, we have seen these numbers, we should be working on it. Okay. So even though it's part of our job, it really took us some time to go and look at the dashboard, etc. So with an AI that we recently implemented, basically we would send a document was sent directly to the customer informing about those documents. And we were able to see also those documents. So on that side, yes, it really helped us, because it gave us some time to do other tasks. So yes, it really helped us in our daily task. On the other side, we also have been implementing other AI tools in our services that we've been actually implementing AI in different tools, and it takes us some time also to understand how this tool works with the AI. If the AI has not been correctly implemented, we realize that there were some errors. Then it takes time to fix those errors, and maybe something is not working as expected, and then we need to wait to get that fixed. And also trying to understand how this works, how this new tool works, that is going to be like saving us some time to do some other tasks. So in the end, it takes time to adapt. And this is not like the worst part of it, but it takes some time to adapt. Also, maybe if we implement AI into our products, the customer needs to understand how this is going to affect their daily tasks. We need to explain that to them along with the support team. Again, even though it's part of our job, it takes some time. And maybe the customer has some questions when they go and ask me that I didn't have a technical background, don't really understand, like from a technical perspective, how that can impact on their daily tasks. Then I need to get someone from the support team just to explain that. Again, it's like a 50-50. So sometimes it's real good. Sometimes it takes a lot of time to adapt. It creates a lot of questions. And maybe some people, some customer, they don't like it. They prefer the old way. But it's, yeah.
You mentioned the example with the dashboard that now well, it's basically automated and you are sending it directly to your customers. This triggered the following question. What other tools or processes help you automate your daily tool so that you
Theme.
productive or to be able to
Yes.
free up more time so you can talk and spend more time with your customers.
Okay. One thing that I really is we have a ticketing system. Basically, the customers use that ticketing system to get in touch with the support team. And in one ticket, they put the request and you see the whole conversation between the customer and the support team. We implemented AI on that. So whenever we get into a ticket, there's like a box in which the AI summarizes the whole conversation. So I don't really have to go through message and message and message. So there's simply a box that explains everything that has been done, what were the interests of the customer, what kind of answers we gave to them, and also the time, like the timeline. Like it basically, you don't really have to go through all the ticket. It's just you read that orange box and you see everything there. So that tool really helped me. It really saved my life sometimes because maybe I was in the middle of a meeting and the customer complained about one ticket. And so I go to our ticketing system, I looked that ticket, and right below the ticket, there was this orange box explaining everything. So I didn't really have to go through the whole ticket, spend like wasted customers' time during the call. I just read that. And that really saved my life a lot of times. And I really like this AI tool implemented on the ticketing system. It really made our lives easier for customer success.
Our last question. If you are non-technical and if you have a non-technical background, probably doing CS for a super technical product, what do you need to nail first? What would be all about for someone who is willing to step into your field, I would say.
Okay. Basically, if a company hires you to do customer success and you don't have a technical background, the company already knows that. So they will give you the time to learn. So that's something that I was really like afraid because I thought, okay, if I don't learn this in 1 month, in 2 months, they're going to fire me. I'm going to be doing a bad job. But no, the company actually knows that. So you have to be very calm. And also, as they know this, they give you like the opportunity to learn from technical team. And the technical team from the company already knows that you didn't know anything. So they're going to be supporting you. Like you don't have to be afraid of making questions. There are no silly questions. There are no simple questions. They're just questions. You need to get information to get your job done. And you don't have to be afraid of making questions. You don't have to be afraid to send messages all the time to the people from the technical team. The company knows that you're going to be doing it. The company expects you to have this kind of a behavior towards your daily task. So ask questions, don't be afraid. Don't get anxious for not knowing everything from the very first day. It's going to be a long journey, but in the end, once you realize after 2 years, I know a lot of things that I, in my life, would have never thought that I could be dealing with. I'm very proud of myself, actually, I have to say, because I come from a very different background. And people shouldn't be afraid of stepping into different sector, into different field. if the company gives you the opportunity, take it and learn from it, because it's actually like a very, very good experience.
I actually like to say that great things happen out of your comfort zone. And most probably, if you would have remained in your comfort zone, you wouldn't have been here where you are today. Was a really interesting conversation. And I loved how you managed to bring together, because of the conversation that we had, two things that don't usually fit in the same role. The linguistic and the cybersecurity. It's a rare combination. But I'm sure that this combination actually shapes the way you think about customers and communication in general. And there was a lot here that people can generally take back into their own work, for sharing your story with us. And to everyone listening, thanks for being here. Until next time, stay curious, keep learning, and mastering customer success.